Hello, my friends, and welcome to my kitchen. Cheers to you, folks. Well, unfortunately, since nature threw us a curveball, we're pretty much snowed in today. It's not horrible. We're probably going to get about 5 inches or so, but it started at 8 a.m. and it's not going to end till 1 a.m. Holy catfish. But the truck camper, Red, he's not 4-wheel drive. And I think it was probably about already 10 or 11 o'clock this morning, they were throwing out travel warnings and hazardous conditions and visibility problems. And I thought, it's probably just not a good idea to take off for 80 plus miles in any one direction at this time. So that's unfortunate. But I thought I would introduce you guys to, well, this is where all my recipes start for the channel. And my channel, for those of you that are new, is a combination of my 2 hobbies. Well, I have several, but these 2 just coincide pretty well. I've always enjoyed cooking and coming up with recipes, and I've been camping since longer than I can remember. So I just kind of merged the 2. And I have a lot of fun doing it. And I do appreciate y'all coming along on these little adventures. I truly do. Unfortunately, well, I don't know if it's unfortunate or not. You get to see my kitchen. And I have a new recipe that is definitely a little ambitious for a campground. We're going to bake some cookies. It doesn't sound like much, but I've got an interesting little recipe, my friends. And it's what my kids have named the ultimate cookie recipe. So, and oh my gosh, if you got a sweet tooth, this joker will knock it out, let me tell you. So my friends, I'm going to go ahead and get our workstation set up and probably warm up my coffee a little bit. I've already got the oven preheated. That's one thing. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees. And I've already got, and we need 2 sticks of butter, softened, which I've had sitting out on the counter for a bit. So we should be good to go. So everybody, y'all hang in there, and well, I'll be back shortly. All right, my friends, I think we've got everything out here. And oh, since I am in my kitchen, I apologize for any kind of echo. I do have the little, I guess, foam screen thing on the GoPro, but we'll see how it goes. Broke out my stand mixer. I do cook, so we'll go through a quick rundown of the ingredients. So first thing I do is I have 2 sticks of softened butter. They go right in there. And I always get butter on my fingers. Now to that, we're going to add 3/4 cup of packed brown sugar. And I use light brown sugar. You could use dark if you want to. I prefer the light. Boop, right in there. Give it a little, loosen it up a little bit. Set that to the side. And most cookie recipes at this point also call for 1 whole cup of sugar. We are only going to use a 1/4 cup of regular sugar. There's a reason for that. All right. Now we'll get this incorporated just a little bit. I like to start this up first, and with a stand mixer and that butter, let me give it a little bit of help. And I'll probably get butter all over my shirt. It never fails. And then to that, we're going to add 2 large eggs. There we go. Try to keep the shell out of it the best we can. Okay, we're almost done with the wet side. Last thing we're going to throw in there is a teaspoon of vanilla, but I'm going to wait on that just a second because I've got 1 teaspoon. In here we have 2 1/4 cups of just general all-purpose flour. To that, I'll find my teaspoon here. There we go. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. This is a new salt container, so I'm trying to be careful. There we go. I didn't want to go whoosh. And 1 teaspoon of baking soda, just regular old baking soda. Good scoop. I like using the lid, a nice level scoop. Now, to finish our wet ingredients, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Pretty simple. There we go. I'm used to doing this on the counter, not on a table, so I'm a little disorientated, but not too bad. Now, our dry, we're going to give them a quick little stir. We've got one more ingredient to add to this joker. But I'm going to go ahead and get this all mixed up, so bear with me, folks. I'm going to try to do this without getting butter all over the kitchen. Spatulas come in handy right now. There we go. I will just leave you right there for now. Now, our last ingredient, and this is where I guess the ultimate part of the cookie comes in, is, and that's why we only used a 1/4 cup of sugar, is we're going to add 1 3.4 ounce box of lemon instant pudding. Now, what's really great about this recipe, my friends, is you can use follow the exact same directions. The only thing that you can, or that you might want to change up, is what flavor of pudding you want to use, as well as what flavor of baking chip. Today, we're going to go with lemon. I made all different kinds of combinations. And when we add our chips, we're using the white baking chips. Or I call them white chocolate, but it's more of a vanilla. We give this a quick mix. Ooh, I can smell that lemon. All right. Get off my spatula here a little bit. Get another towel. Just trying to keep some of the mess off the table if possible. Now, when you add your flour into it, and forgive me if I'm oversimplifying this and going through the directions, but amazingly enough, a lot of people I talk to have never made cookies. So now that we're going to add this into our wet ingredient, you don't want to dump the whole thing in there at once. It's just it's a catastrophe. So I usually go about 1/3 to 1/2 and then finish off. So let me get this in here and we will continue. And I'll get that mixed up and then we'll get the last of it in there. So one thing about these stand mixers, everything wants to stick to the side. At least this one. All right, my friends, we got that all nice and mixed up now. We got a nice cookie dough going on there. So now we're going to add our baking chips. Now this was just, basically this is an entire bag. It was an 11-ounce bag, but I went ahead and measured it out in case you get bigger bags. But it worked out to 1 3/4 cups, and which is sufficient. And this thing, I'm going to tell you right now, I've done this a time or two. This little joker is about to go bananas. Oh, I can use that lid. Ah, here we go. Oh, there goes some dough. And just like with the flour, you don't want to dump it in there all at once, just a little bit at a time. And there it goes. I'm going to work on this, folks, and let it get settled down. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Get most of that off there. All right, my friends, let me get a couple things out of our way and we're ready to spoon them up on our pan. I'll leave this still. Cheers to you, my friends. We're getting better organized. Okay, now we got just a non-greased, non-stick cookie sheet baking pan, whatever you want to call it. So now we're going to scoop them out. And this makes anywhere, it can make up to 2 dozen cookies. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, it just depends on the size of your cookie. So you just take, it's got 2 tablespoons And we're just going to get them on here. And you can I've actually taken like a 9 by 13 pan, I think it was, if I get the size right, and just press it all. I did grease the bottom a little bit and just pressed it all out, made one big giant cookie. I'll tell you what, those bake times are a lot different. All right, my friends, let me get this sheet filled up and then we'll get these in the oven. All right, that's our last one. Perfect. Now we're gonna, like I said, I do believe I mentioned before, we have 350 degrees. Typically you cook these on the center, center rack of the oven. I raise mine up just one level, so it's just slightly above center. Yep. We're gonna set our timer for 10 minutes and then check them. So, be back 10 minutes, my friends. Yeah. Oh. Coffee. Three seconds. Well, go off, you. All right, let's pull these jokers out. Oh, yeah. Now, this is where you need to know your oven. So, I know mine pretty well. I put a little towel down here because that joker's hot. Now, typically what I do is I'll let this rest for about 5 minutes and then I'll take them off the plate. So, give me 5 minutes and then we'll plate these jokers up. All right, my friends, we got our second batch in the oven. Get our timer set. I'm gonna set it for 11 minutes this time because I set it for 10. Typically, I'll set it for 10 and then check them, and then if they need another minute or two, that's what I'll do. And these needing another minute. I've already. I apologize. I've already taste tested one. You got to have that first cookie right out of the oven. I'll tell you what. Oh man, that's some good cookie. It's sweet too. Oh, cheers, my friends. And unfortunately for me, I'm down to only one baking pan. I forgot. I recently discarded one. It had seen better days, and I just forgot to replace it. So we're working with one. That's all right. Well, my friends. Oh, and I want to show you something. Notice the bottoms of the cookies. They're not dark. That's one reason, and I guess a little baking trick, depending on your stove, is when I'm baking something and it calls to be in the center of the oven, I take the little oven rack and I take it up one rung. And it seems to do much better when baking cookies or biscuits. I mean, how many times you made a biscuit, comes out, oh, nice golden brown, the bottom is dark brown. This kind of helps prevent that a little bit. And well, at least it does with my oven. Every oven's different. But my friends, that is my ultimate cookie recipe. So hopefully, if you're not familiar with using the pudding in a cookie, there you go. Be my guest, knock yourself out. And like I said before, I've used all different kinds of the instant puddings. I've used the chocolate, French vanilla, cheesecake, and just mix them up with different flavored baking chips. You know, regular milk chocolate, dark chocolate, the white, and I like it sometimes in the holiday season, they actually come out with cinnamon. And I'll tell you, that's a good combination. If you make these, use the white chocolate pudding with the cinnamon chip. To me, it tastes like a piece of pumpkin pie. It's crazy. But my friends, apologies we couldn't get out to the campground, but at least we got to see my kitchen. But this may happen again in the future when, I guess, my plans and nature's plans kind of collide. But if you enjoyed our little I guess, kitchen experiment this week, let me know. Because like I said before, I'm sure I have quite a few other recipes that are just way too ambitious for a campground. So anyway, I'm running on, my friends. Appreciate y'all coming along. Y'all take care. And as always, I'll see you soon.